Happy New Year. It's time to look into the year of 2023.
Wow.
Welcome back to the Mayner Leadership Show.
We will not edit
I'm
that
Desi.
out.
This is Jeremy. And we're going to talk about some SMART goals today. We're going to dig in. But before we do that, if you're a leader, you're struggling, you're stressed, you're frustrated, you're overworked, you're doing too much, go jump on and get our 4-day leadership challenge right now. It will give you some actionable strategies that can get you off on the right foot this year, starting like today. Like, watch the video. It gives you specific action items that you can do today to get your leadership off on the right foot. And hey, maybe your whole leadership team needs it. Go try that too. It is free and you get that video in your inbox. But SMART goals. Jeremy's leading the way today. Goals are good. Some people talk about goals being bad, goals being good. We're on the belief that we should have goals, but I want to lose weight. That's great. What does that mean? That's what we're going to dig into today. So we're going to be talking about SMART goals. So, New Year's resolutions.
It's so funny, man. There's so many people out there that A, maybe don't know where to begin on setting a goal. B, will just say, yeah, I don't set goals. It's not something that I do.
Yep.
Or 3, maybe they just have a goal, but it's all just in their head.
Yeah.
And it's really, we call that a kind of a hope and a wish and a prayer. Sales guy Desi Mayner calls it taking a hit of hopium.
Hopium.
And it's funny because I'm trying to accomplish something. So I want to look into the future and plan on, okay, what is it that I'm looking to accomplish? The vast majority of people attribute their goals to what you said as far as New Year's resolutions. My goal is Happy New Year. This is what I want to quit smoking, lose weight, make more money, do this, do that, find a career, and then by right around February 1st, it just fizzles out.
Yeah, the meme of the gym with 1 million people in it, and 6 weeks later, there's 5 people.
Yeah, they joke about it at the gym, and they call them resolutionaries.
Yeah.
When are these resolutionaries going to leave?
So that we can get our workout in.
And so, for you that are either watching or listening, that's a question first that I want you to ask is, man, do I set goals?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you set them? How do you set them?
Yeah.
Why did you set the goals that you set? Was there specifics to it, deadlines to it, all those things? That's the first self-assessment, right? That's the first place that we want to start.
That's it. Like, is it just a wish disguised as a goal? Is it something that, like you said, man, I write it down? Mm-hmm. And more than I write it down, I commit myself to looking at it daily?
Yeah.
So today we're going to dive into that. We're going to look at some strategies and also some tactics on how to really set goals, get accountability to them, be committed, and crush them. Like, our ultimate goal is for you guys to have the best 2023 that you can possibly have.
Oh, yeah.
And it starts with, man, what do I want? So we're going to dive in and dig into this, but one thing that I thought was pretty shocking, pretty jarring, is we know that the vast majority of people that even listen to this will say, yeah, I get it, I know it, but I'm not going to apply it. The vast majority of people say, yeah, I have a goal to XYZ, but I've not told somebody, I've not written it down. And Harvard did a study, and they said that 3% of their MBA grads who had their goals written down and committed to earned on average 10 times as much as the 97% combined.
That's a pretty big number.
Over the course of 10 years.
10x.
All of us got an MBA 10 years later because I was one of the 3% that wrote down my goals and I committed to them. Mm-hmm. I made 10 times more than you did.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, write your goal down, commit to it, tell someone about it, and get an accountability partner to it, and you're going to be off and running. I mean, right there is the data to back it. The statistics show you will be potentially 10x more revenue generating, more profitable, more successful, however you want to look at it, whether it's business or personal.
Yeah.
But either way, wow. I'm going to write mine down.
That's it. That's a wrap, guys. Thanks so much. Just kidding. To start, on just a basic fundamental level, you got to really think and define what it is that you want. I know that sounds really stupid, but what am I going to set a goal for? It's going to be, I got to give it some thought. What is it that I want to achieve? Often in teams, when we'll do like an annual review or working, we'll say, if I had an easy button, if I gave you a Harry Potter wand and it was this, and we fast forward into the future, what would that look like based on where you want to go? So that's really step one. You gotta first make a list. Anytime you have an idea or you're thinking of something, if it's stuck in your head, it won't be there long. It will leave. It will disappear.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Spend some time. This process here may take you 20 minutes because you've been thinking about it. It may take you 40 to 50 minutes. On average, takes me about 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah. Because once I have this full list, now I want to categorize the list. So first thing, make a list of what you want to accomplish. Some people, because they've done this before, might do that the opposite way and say, my categories are my finances, my fitness, my business, my job, my body, my mindset, my faith. I'm setting these categories, and based on those, what do I want to do?
One of the ways that that we tend to do this in the business is we do like a year in review. And then we take that as the foundation to lead us into defining what we want. And then we just use big whiteboard. And it's ugly. It's not neat. It's kind of all over the place. Called a word wall type of a thing. But then we start to color code and narrow it down, categorize and quadrant, and those types of things to clarify the areas. You know. So that's what we've found to be really successful and helpful and a lot quicker to get it out of our heads and onto a board. Yeah,
because if I'm looking at, I want to spend more time with my family. We'll get to the details. That's why you had alluded earlier to one of the methods that's used and that I've used for years is the SMART method. But I could say I want to spend more time with my family. That is, in and of itself, a wish.
Yep, that's about it.
That's not a goal. Now, I can break that down further and say, I want to plan a family vacation this year. I want to spend more quality time with my children individually this year. And so when you're thinking in terms of your family bucket, what does that look like? Once again, we're at the end of the year now, let's say, imagine, in 2023, you've accomplished all your goals. What are we celebrating?
Great question.
Think in terms of that, of what we really want to accomplish.
If this was the best year, if we were December 31st, 2023, and it was the greatest year of your life, personally and in business, what would you be telling me about? Take me into that world. What's this day like? What are we celebrating? Excellent question. And that's where you want to get to. Type of a deal.
And it's got to be emotional. That's why I say take some time, be creative, and think about it. Because your memory and your focus and your commitment only works from emotion. It's not going to work from the data set. Like I heard Tony Robbins recently say on a podcast, we remember what we feel. Like you probably, listeners, most of you can remember where you were and what you were doing on September 11th, 2001.
Yeah.
Right? September 11th, 2001. But what were you doing on September 8th?
No clue.
We have no idea. So when we get into this framework of I'm going to be alone in a room with a pad and a paper and I'm just going to think and visualize what it could look like, what it should look like, what I want, get that written down. Don't worry about details at this point. We just want you to data dump and give a handful of these goals that you are wanting to accomplish. The second thing to this, and we're just going to kind of put a bookmark on this for later, but I also want to do this now when you're in that creative process, is I want you to list, and what's worked for me anyways, is list all of the challenges and all of the obstacles that I foresee could happen with this goal. Like, I want to lose weight, so I need to go to the gym. A challenge is, it snowed last night in Michigan.
My clothes aren't set out.
My clothes aren't set out. I got to actually walk into the gym. There's steps there. What are some obstacles? I want to lose weight. Well, I got a lot of cookies in the kitchen. I got a lot of... So right now, we're not solving these problems.
Just calling them out.
You're just looking as a first responder as to what would happen, because we want to walk you through now, thinking ahead of time, when this happens, not if I get setbacks,
Right.
if I get roadblocks. When this happens, we want to have a plan on how to respond. Okay, so first, make a list. What do we want to achieve? Categorize them,
Yep.
and then set 1 to 2 to 3 major obstacles, maybe that you've had in the past,
Yeah.
or
you didn't overcome.
and you didn't overcome, or things that, as you're thinking about it, could and
You
ultimately
foresee.
will come up.
What's going to hold you back? You know, what's going to keep you from achieving it?
Yep.
Yeah. Lewis Carroll, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there.
Yep.
If you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there. And that's not the goal here. That's not what we're set out to do, which is why we're starting with that whiteboard, with that categorizing. Like it's like if you don't know where to start, go back to the beginning. Knowing what you want is the beginning. That's your jumping off point. So let's dive into it. What does SMART mean?
Yeah, so we're into the new year, guys, and a lot of times we look at, where do I start? How do I do this? We're already a couple weeks into the year, and my days are already like this.
Boom.
Guys, if your days are like this, go back to a previous podcast and we looked at Eisenhower method and some time management.
Efficiency, effective.
But sometimes life just happens. Make your goal to live by design and not default. Make it your focus to spend time for you, for what you want to accomplish.
Yeah.
Not what everybody else does.
No.
So what we want to do is now we want to take those goals that you've listed, and now we want to break them down into bite-size, tangible, measurable application. Okay? So once we have that, when we look at SMART, it's an acronym. Most people use acronyms for memory.
Yep.
But the goal must be specific. So we said earlier, I want to lose weight. That's not a goal. A specific goal would be, I want to lose 15 pounds, 20 pounds. Okay? We'll use this as an example as we get going because it's easy to
I want
kinda
5% body
visualize.
fat. I want,
Right. So that's the S. When you're looking now at your list, based on what you wrote, is it super vague? Or do I have some really good details and specificity to it? If I don't, go back to it and say, if one of your goals was, I want to lose weight,
Yeah.
what does that mean
Now,
and what's the specifics
Flesh it out
to
a
that?
bit.
Yep.
Flesh it out a bit. Add the details to it.
Yep. The M is for measurable. Now, we want to take the M and the A of this acronym and answer that twofold. Like, is it measurable? And secondly, and I think more importantly, how will I measure this?
Yeah.
Well, I know if I get on a scale every day or once a week, just the accountability of looking at that is going to get me
You'll
further.
lose weight. Yeah.
Right? So how am I measuring? Am I measuring my calories? I'm going to track everything that I eat.
Yeah.
I got the Weight Watchers app. I got the Lose It app. I got the MyFitnessPal. Right? We want to find a time frame. Weekly is a decent one for that one.
Yeah.
To measure. Because you want to see, this is the ultimate goal I have, and this is how I'm going to track it.
Yeah. Regularity. A regularity of measurement. You know, we talk about consistency versus intensity.
Yeah.
When you're measuring, you want to measure consistently.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, for the lose the weight analogy, like if you're not going to weigh once, the first week and then not weigh again until the third week, like once a week or every 3 days or every type. But you want a regularity of it. So when it comes to that measurable section, make sure to have that in there too. Is it measurable? And then how are you going to measure it? And when are you going to measure it?
Yeah, and based on the goal, that's how you want to determine the when. Like if I want to lose 20 pounds and I worked out today and then tomorrow I got on the scale and I didn't lose anything, I'm going to be discouraged.
Yeah.
If I don't have the mindset of, man, this takes some time. So measure that out. Be consistent with it. That's the M for measurable. The A is attainable. Also is attainable, right? If I said, I want to lose...
Ask yourself that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, Desi, I said my goal was I want to lose 150 pounds this year. well, guys, I weigh 185. That's probably not the best. It's not attainable.
Yeah.
If it's, I want to make $1 million this year, right? But I've only ever made $40, $50, $60, $70, $80,000. I've only had the mindset and capacity to get myself, okay, I want to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
That's like asking a homeless person what $1 million looks like.
Yeah. And this can be a touchy one, honestly, because, you know, you tell me that as a high driver, and I'm like, I understand that it might not be incredibly realistically attainable, but what I'm counting on is some type of exponential hit throughout that year. It's like I got a little God math playing into this that it's gonna work. Like I'm gonna hit it, you know. But so because there's people out there like 10x it, 50x it, blah blah blah. A lot of times that's going back to like we overestimate what we can do in a year, underestimate what we can do in 10 years. So when you hear that 10x and the 50x, a lot of times that's like a bigger picture, longer time period. But when you're talking about like a specific, measurable, attainable goal for a year, like it needs to be realistic. Otherwise, you're setting a bad expectation for yourself, which means you're just going to feel bad when you're not hitting it. You know, even if it's, you set a big goal and maybe it's going to be really hard to attain, that's fine, like a stretch goal, but you know that going in, and maybe at the end of the day, you're 75% to goal, and that's a pretty awesome accomplishment. But it was still within that realm of attainability.
Correct.
It was worth measuring, you know, and so you were still in the ballpark.
Yeah, and I would say like, yeah, I want to shoot for the sun, and if I get the moon, I still achieved. And I don't know who it was, you know, which mentor along my life, but they call it a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal.
Oh, yeah.
And that, I think, is something that you want to have and put in place, but those are questions that you're going to ask apart from something that's like this. Like, absolutely, we're asking the question, not how can our business incrementally grow 25% this year? We're asking the question of, what's it take to double this business? What's it take to triple this business?
But it's not necessarily the goal. That's the question.
It's the question because, you know, shout out to Alex Hormozy. These questions are what gets you to these answers that we're really looking for. But I'm now looking in this is like, okay, this year I'm going to try to chunk this down. This is how I'm measuring. Yes, it's attainable. The second question on that is, how am I going to attain this? Right? If I'm going to use the scale as my measurement, and I'm going to use the calorie counter app as my nutrition measurement. Like I can't, if I'm supposed to eat 2,000 calories and I eat 6,000 calories, it's not going to work, right? So then the attainable is, how then will I attain this? Well, I am going to commit to working out 5 times a week. I'm going to commit to running these many days of that week as far as cardio. I'm going to commit to eating clean, and what that means is boop, 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 boop. And I'm going to have one night a week where it's a cheat day and I get to have a drink or whatever.
And this one, I love this part of it because like I get nerdy with this part. I get in the weeds a little bit because I almost start to view those as like, those are little mini goals or benchmarks or really like objectives.
Like the dials.
That you're trying to hit because like when you add it, if you hit these 3 objectives, now the goal is reached, right? So to me, the goal is big. And then when you get into the how are you going to attain this? You can break that down. So like the goal is vague, and then the how starts to get a little bit more specific with those mini goals or benchmarks or objectives, right? And then you get into like, okay, what does this actually mean for me on Tuesday at 2:00? You know, or, you know, every single day, that type of thing. That's when it gets fun because you can put boots on the ground. It's less theoretical and it's way more, here's exactly what I need to do right now, essentially.
Like, why do I like eating ice cream every single day of the week? Why isn't this getting me to where I want to go? All right, so we got the first part of this. The R, what's the relevance? We asked the question earlier. You hit your goal, it's the end of the year, we're having a party and we're celebrating. Why does it matter? What is the point? Guys, of all of these letters in this acronym, this is the number one. Circle it, star it, bold it, because if your why is big enough, you can solve any how. If it matters to me that much and I'm committed to it, then all these other things help with that consistency, help with me measuring. It helps with the confidence, because in me says that the person that should look lighter, more fit, healthier, whatever reason that is. For me, when I went through this specific goal, it was, I have 4 kids. I want to be able to live a good long life with them. I want to be healthy. For some, it could be I want a better physique. It could be whatever that is. It's got to hit you here way more in first than it hits you here.
Yeah, I mean, even, and like, attach the story to it. I mean, for me, I mean, just to be transparent with you, like, longevity, sustainability is one of my goals. And that's because my dad passed away from a heart attack super young. My grandma and grandpa both have had and have heart problems. My uncles, heart problems. So longevity is very important to me. So when I set that kind of, physical health, mental health combination of a goal, that's why. Because, I've got 2 kids and I'm an entrepreneur, and that's stressful. Right? That's fast moving, and I know who I am. So longevity has got to play a role in that. And so that's the why behind what I'm doing. That's a great example. But you got to get that deep. And sometimes it's the why now. Even to go with why is it relevant, and also why is it relevant now?
Yeah, when it wasn't before.
Yeah, or well, it was that, but I didn't get to it. Okay, so what's different now? I set this one last year and didn't hit it. Okay, well, what's going to be different this year? Why is it more relevant this year or this month or whatever, fill in the blank with that type of a deal. But the relevancy and the why behind it, there's a great example of it. But dig into that. You have to have that, or you will not achieve the goal. Because you won't put your best foot forward over a long period of time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's good.
So what's the T?
Last is a timetable or timeline. It must be time bound. So remember, we take it from the top. I want to lose weight. No, you don't. Let's get rid of that. I want to lose 25 pounds by measuring this weekly, by doing this, eating cleanly, by working out, and because I want to live long. I want to be there for my kids. I want to XYZ by the end of 2023, right? That's soup to nuts, the acronym, but you can just say, I want to lose 25 pounds by the end of 23. It's specific, and now I have a timetable.
Yeah.
And sandwich the rest of that together. You got to put the focus to a deadline, because how do you know where I'm tracking when I'm measuring? If I'm month 4 into this, I want to look at it and say, this is where I started. This is where I'm at. I'm still a ways away. This is where I started. Man, I'm way ahead of pace.
Yeah.
Now I can have ice cream 2 nights a week instead of every night of the week.
No, don't do that. Well, in the summer.
So that, guys, in a nutshell, guys and gals, is the SMART system. Now, the sidebar to this is get accountable. First, hold yourself accountable. How much do your words and your thoughts internally about you really matter to you, right? And if it is important, if that why is strong enough, man, is it your spouse? Is it your partner? Who is it that I can confide in to say, hey man, I need some accountability here. I need to see. Because I can promise you, you will have setbacks. You are going to fall on your face. You're going to have a day, whatever goal it is that you're trying to hit, and life's going to punch you in the face.
Murphy's Law is going to kick in.
It just will. Now, the tendency is, see, why did I even do this?
I quit.
I knew setting goals, like even slouching my shoulders like this.
Changes the whole thing.
I just knew. What's the point? I should just go back to default mode.
Yeah, no.
Right? Versus, remember I wrote these down, and I was looking at, I'm going to have setbacks.
And I knew this was going to be one of them.
Even if I don't know the specific of the setback, know that you will. Mm-hmm. So from path A to Z, if I'm at G, I'm going to fall on my face.
Yep.
What's my response to that? My response isn't to eat a bucket of ice cream. Okay, just pro tip. It should be, okay, I'm going to brush myself off.
Yeah.
I'm going to try again. I'm still further than I was when I first started.
Exactly.
And this is the steps that I need to take to get back on track.
One of the ways to look at that, I had one of my physical health coaches had taught this to me, and it's basically like an arc. And say you were talking about like getting to G. So like I've went from here to here and had a crappy day, or I got sick, or whatever. I didn't work out, or I had ice cream. So, okay, well, you didn't go from in one day or one bowl ice cream. You didn't go from here to here.
Yeah,
like you just went like this. The goal is progress, right? Like you have a year to get where you want to go. A little setback, and that's where this coach he taught me like 80-20. Like if 80% of the time you're making progress, you're doing everything that you just laid out in that SMART, like the needle's going to keep moving type of a deal. And it's like, okay. And I look at that and I'm like, all right, well, what if I do 95%? Then I'll go faster. Like, awesome. That's great. But still, at 80 to 90% of the time, you're doing the right thing. You're going to get there. You're going to be hitting all of these benchmarks, and you're going to be making progress towards hitting the actual goal that you set, by the end of the year or the end of the month, because you can scale this type of a deal. So I think that's important to do. But here, I think this would be a great value add to them. Why don't you walk me through setting a goal, like help me set a goal. Coach me through setting a SMART goal.
Okay, so you've made your list.
Yep. So I've got my list.
You've just data dumped. Okay, so give me a goal. Give me something from one of those lists.
So improve physical and mental health.
Improve physical and mental health. Okay. Try to break that a little more specific to me.
So I would like to work out at least 5 times a week. I would like to take at least a 1-minute cold shower 5 times a week. I'd like to only eat processed sugars once a week. Okay. And would like to lose 20 pounds by the end of the year. That's probably a lot and way too much.
I would break them down into 2.
Okay.
Because overall, I want to improve my physical and mental health, but there's a lot of activities that you're going to do, and there's different ways to attain and to measure that.
Okay.
So I would say I want to improve my physical health by losing 20 pounds this year.
Okay.
Now I got a specific and I got a timetable.
Yep.
Within that, you said, I want to work out a handful of times a day.
Yeah.
I want to do the polar bear plunge, the cold showers, because...
Which, pro tip, that is invigorating. You do not need coffee in the morning after a 1-minute cold shower, let me tell you.
Improves metabolism.
Because this is real. I'm really honing in on this year.
Speeds in metabolism. Your limbic system's reset. Flushes you out.
Sorry, that was sidebar.
But it's no fun. Just, if you're looking for fun, that ain't it.
Embrace the suck.
Limit sugar.
Yeah.
And, a cheat meal once a week, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, so we've left out the measure. What are we going to do to just look? Let's hone in on the physical aspect, because it's kind of what we talked about the whole podcast, but it's more real to you. How are we going to measure this?
So what I was thinking with this is I'm gonna ninja hack this and use some of our own systems and processes.
Okay.
And so I'm gonna use my everyday question software.
Okay.
And then once a week I'll look at my data.
So that would be both the A and the D. Or the M.
Yeah, because the way I'm thinking about it.
Because the attainability would be the everyday. I'm going to put a system in place that holds me accountable.
Yeah, so it's going to automatically come in. Like I don't have to do that part other than click the thing, click the buttons, and hit submit.
And then how often would you want to measure that data? How much is enough data? So I'll
look at the week's compilation of data once a week.
Okay.
So, and I'll do that with my mentor.
Okay, perfect. So that's holding me accountable to a lot of the activities that I say I'm going to do in order to reach the goal. Okay, how else am I measuring am I 25 pounds lighter or not?
Well,
20 pounds.
I used to weigh myself every day, but I found that to not to be not good thing.
Okay.
So I'll weigh myself twice a week. So like a Wednesday, Saturday.
Perfect.
And I'll keep that in that my same question software.
Okay. So you guys see how this is starting to take some shape versus I just want to improve physical and mental health, right? Now, this is the crux of it. You touched on it a little bit, but like, so what?
To me, the mental edge is incredibly important to me. I mean, I'm the owner of a leadership business. I don't know if you guys knew that, but to me, that physical edge leads right into the mental edge. So, along with the story I'll share with you guys about the health problems and generational, and me being the first kind of really true entrepreneur of the family, and redefining work in general and the family dynamic around being an entrepreneur, all those things that focus on my kids and my family and financial freedom and time freedom is something that I'm trying to like reroute that family tree and create a whole nother world that my family's never known or has existed within my family tree. So it's a whole new branch. That's a whole nother color. It called it a different, this was an oak tree and I'm out here going to be like a Japanese maple type of a deal. And that's incredibly important to me to teach my kids that. And part of that mental edge has to come with the physical edge. You don't get one without the other.
Sure.
Type of a deal. So to me, that's the why behind it. That's why that's so important to me, because I'm showing these kids, and they're 3 and 5, but I'm already seeing it of like they're doing yoga on the YouTube with their yoga mat, and they're asking me to get down there, and like I can, and I want to, and I enjoy it.
Nice.
And the kids don't go to that without seeing you do it.
Right.
So that's the why behind it for me. At least.
They emulate more than they just listen. And
exactly. Do what you see, not what you say, right?
Yeah. So I'm hearing the relevance to this is that affects my mental edge. Mm-hmm. I want to reformat or change course my family tree. Yeah. And really leave a legacy for my kids to show them what this actually looks like.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, we all know, and we've said this, we're going to have setbacks. Mm-hmm. We're going to have a day where it's like freaking all you can eat. Yeah. Fill in the blanks, right? Yeah. And we will.
Oh, yeah.
When that comes, one thing to think about is to find a way to bring a trigger to mental edge, family tree, legacy. Yeah. Because that's your anchor. Because there's going to be so many days, and you've had this, you've been an athlete your whole life. Mm-hmm. How many days on the field at game day did you have a headache, or you didn't feel up to it, or you weren't there?
Yeah, I mean, a third of them probably.
Well, why did you press on? Because my relevance, my why, my team needed me.
Behind it than that. Yeah, so I have a picture, 2 pictures actually. One is of me with my dad. I mean, I'm like 6 years old, mm-hmm. and he's holding a buck up. And then I have that same picture restaged with me and my 2 daughters and me holding a buck up. And I have them right next to each other, right on my desk. And that's my trigger. That's the goal. That's why right there. I did that. They're doing this. It connects all of those legacies.
That's awesome.
And those generations and takes me right back where I need to go. And if that doesn't do it, I mean, as good as me, just look at your 5-year-old daughter smile at you, and then that'll do it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Very good. That was good, man. Did that help? I mean, I think
I'm going to have to, transcribe this to make sure that that's all.
But I hope you guys can see and gals can see at home, like, it's such a difference. Mm-hmm. He could have left it at, I just want to improve my mental and physical health.
Yeah.
And then I got to turn on Yellowstone because there's a new episode, and that's it, right? Or he can say, I want to improve my physical and mental health, and what does that really mean? And if I did that, how would I go about doing that? And why is that important? And what should the deadline be? Okay? So, guys, once again, we're going to summarize. Make a list. I'm trying to land the plane here because I can ramble.
Yeah.
What we want to do is make a list, categorize that list, make a handful of obstacles. Even if you don't know them, try to think in your head of what am I going to do when these obstacles come, okay? Then look at that SMART method. Is the list and the goals that you've set specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound? And do you have a way to hold yourself accountable through a peer, a friend, a spouse, technology, like you said?
Yeah.
I had something in place there. But this is a time right now at the beginning of the year to really put a focus on what do I have and what can I accomplish. Because you're going to blink your eyes and come back and tune in, and we're going to say Merry Christmas, and it's 2023 Christmas, and the year just left.
Yeah.
What did I gain from it?
Yeah.
So I'll leave you with this, guys. That Tony Robbins said the setting goals is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. Goals are like magnets. They'll attract the things that make them come true. Think about that. Your goals, as you start to think about them, they're like magnets. Now I'm starting to attract the things that I want to bring to life that started here.
Yeah. And dig into this, because you're going to blink and it's going to be second quarter. So, like, do this and do it, like, today and make it happen. And, hey, if you need some support, you need some guidance, we're here to walk side by side with you the whole way.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.